different and special. And I know one thing, Gunnar and I and Scott, we spent a lot of miles on the road and away from our family and stuff. We were watching the news, just kind of watching the weather and just hoping that everything was going to work out. And the Lord blessed us with a great day to be here. Thank you, everybody, for showing up at the show. Thank you. And we always say that this is the show, Gunnar and I, that we love to do. It's not the show that we have to do. As a matter of fact, we started this as kind of like an open letter to our pop, because it started a long time ago. We were asked to play for the United States Navy. Give it up for anybody that served. Thank you for that. In a place called Yokosuka, Japan. There's a naval base. They had the USS Kitty Hawk there, and the commanding officer was an old friend of ours, and he was a real big fan of Ricky Nelson. And he convinced us that all the kids that couldn't make it home one year for Thanksgiving with their families would really love it if we came and played a show and did our dad's tunes. And we kind of explained to him that these are 18 and 19-year-old kids, and they didn't know who we were, let alone our dad. And he said, well, you know, what does it matter? This was before the internet actually really took off. He said, it's Japan, so if it doesn't go well, nobody will hear about it. It's for good cause, and it was for good cause. So we went over there, and within the first minute, we just felt kind of silly, because these songs are great, and they deserve to be heard. And our dad really, I have to say this, I really don't think that he got the credit that he was due. Yeah, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he should have been first-year inductee. Yep. And because of politics associated with that, he wasn't. Yeah. Well, it's just an award, right? But the thing is, our dad was so humble, and he always felt like he was blessed. But for a lot of people to have to admit that Ricky Nelson had the talent that he had and the abilities that he had, looking the way that he did, coming from the Hollywood hillbilly upbringing that he had, Mr. Television Star, for him to admit that he had it all together like that was almost like having to admit that the head cheerleader had a brain. And, he was very humble about it. As a matter of fact, what I think his greatest accomplishment was, aside from Elvis, at a big part of his life, he was the most famous guy in the whole world, and you would never know it if you met him. He was completely down to earth, very humble, almost shy to a point. And, wherever you are, Pop, thank you for leaving behind this amazing music, because it brings everybody together still, all these years later. So thank you. Now we're going to meet everybody that wants to meet us after the show, as I mentioned. And folks, frankly, we're dads and we have kids, so buy a CD on the way out, because they're expensive. The kids, not the CDs. Yeah, we have to make a disclaimer. I'm sorry, folks. We took Delta here, which apparently stands for Don't Expect Your Luggage to Arrive. So half of the CDs we brought are in Guam or something like that. So, but we want to take a picture with you, shake a hand, trade stories. There are a lot of people out there in this audience that feel like they grew up with the Nelson family. And we take that very seriously, just like Grandpa and Grandma did, just like our dad did. We've got the biggest, best family in the entire world. And I want to say, yes, you guys have given us all the greatest job in the world for the last 100 years. That's wonderful. But there's a Scandinavian proverb that I'd like to share with you. It goes... Can you tell that we're Scandinavian? Just a little bit. Every man dies two deaths. The first is when his physical body leaves. And the second and final one is when the last person that knows and loves him does. And in that respect, our Father's going to live forever, thanks to all of you. So thank you. We have one final clip for you that's going to round out the evening, and then we're going to come back with, I think, something very special. Here we go.
2 years after his death, on January 21st, 1987, Rick Nelson was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by John Fogerty.
I looked over at Sam Phillips and I said, he made some of the best records ever made in rock and roll. And Sam, he even gave you a run for the money.
As much credit as he's gotten, it ain't near enough. His feel, his understanding, and his love for music. That was Rick Nelson's life.
We always play on New Year's, it seems like, and that's kind of when his playing went down. So I always make a point to play a Ricky Nelson song, and I usually do believe what you say.
In the summer of 2001, Capitol Records reissued all of Rick's classic Imperial recordings from the 50s and 60s, as well as his 1981 album, Playing to Win.
It's a tragedy that he's not here right now making great music. But then again, he had an absolutely great, stunning career.
It's just an amazing journey that Rick took. And, you know, I don't even want to go in with the way that it ended, because I think Ricky's music will live forever. I mean, we know that.
He was rock and roll's biggest fan, and he was not a quitter. He had a lot of guts, a lot of courage, but most of all, he was a really sweet person.
This is my last time around, and I don't know where I'm bound. I thank you for the love.
He never saw himself getting older, and he didn't.
I don't know where I'm going.
To me, he's still on the road. I'm still waiting for the suitcase at the landing, you know? I'm still kind of holding on for that.
See you later, baby.
I've never known what it is to act like a grown-up. It really doesn't happen, you know, what I'm doing. And maybe that's part of the thing that's attractive to me. Because, I mean, you don't get old, I guess. I don't know.
A few years ago, folks, my brother and I were writing songs together, and he threw a question out into the room. He said, if you had 5 minutes left on the planet and only one song that you could sing, what would you want that song to be about? And that was a special day for us. We realized, and there isn't a day that goes by that we don't actually remind ourselves of the fact these guitars of ours have been a passport to an amazing life so far. Incredible successes, soul-crushing defeats, you know, lives well lived, and ones we appreciate. But with all those blessings, there isn't a day that goes by that we wouldn't give everything we've ever gotten and everything we'll ever get for just 5 more minutes of tangible time with our best friend, with our dad. Selfishly speaking, we feel like we get to visit with him a little bit every single night, that we get to do this show, and we thank you for all of that. But, you know, here we are all of these years later. You know, Matthew and I have outlived our father, well, by 6 years now. We're 51. He died at only 45. What a crime. So young, so young. But there was only one thing that he loved more than his family. We never doubted for a second that he didn't love the crap out of us. He did, but he loved you just a little bit more. He was on his way to a show on New Year's Eve when the plane took him and his band and stuff. But this was a guy who literally lived and died for rock and roll. And he loved all of you so much. He was just a really personable guy. And if you leave here with anything, please know that that guy that you grew up with on the television show, if in fact you did, and that family that you saw, man, they weren't acting. They were really behaving more than anything, and they loved you very, very much, and they still do from wherever they are. And it's important for me to kind of like impart this to you. You know, when I turn on the TV lately, it just seems to me like the world's gone crazy lately. Every time I turn on the TV, someone's yelling at me and trying to make me feel scared and divided and separate and wrong and stuff for everything that we believe in. And I'll tell you, the one thing that keeps on coming to me is that I see a lot of people on both sides of the coin acting badly, just acting bad and being indecent. And the one thing I got to say about my grandparents, our grandparents, and our father is they were just genuinely decent people like you are. Decent people who know what it's like to love your neighbors and love your family and have your faith and a sense of community. And I will say this one thing is that, not to get political, I'm not that kind of person, but I will say that there is strength in everybody coming together. And someone benefits when they make us feel separated and different from one another. So if you leave with anything, just look around, man. You've got a whole bunch of people, a lot of you never even met before, that all came together to enjoy a really cool show. And these songs are old, man. They've been around for a long, long time, but they still speak truth. You know, they really do. And that's just what it is for all of us. We love you very much. We want you to know that. And because of that, we want to leave you with a little piece of us. That is a song that we wrote that one day that really is about not taking the people that you love for granted and letting them know that. So hope you dig it. It's a song called Just Once More. Got a million pictures
in my heart and here at home. But I'm afraid that they'll just fade with time. Photographs are cold and a memory's hard to hold. I never got the chance to say goodbye. One more day, one more night, one more chance to make it right. A few more words, a few more laughs, doesn't seem too much to ask. And I know it's just a dream, but I'd give up everything if you'd walk through that door just once more. Sometimes I catch myself asking you out loud, what would you do if you were in my place? 'Cause every day in every way I try and make you proud. That I could tell you face to face. Just one more day, one more night, one more chance to make it right. A few more words, a few more laughs, doesn't seem too much to ask. And I know it's just a dream, but I'd give up everything if you'd walk through that door just once more. Seasons come and seasons go, you taught me so. And I've been blessed, I don't think twice, but wouldn't it be nice? Just one more day, one more night, one more chance to make it right. A few more words, a few more laughs, doesn't seem too much to ask. And I know it's just a dream, but I'd give up everything if you walk through that door just once more.